So I'm Allison Hicks, and I'm here with Edie Stoneman on November 9th, 2008 at the Valley of the Sun JCC with the Arizona Jewish Historical Society project. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you for asking me.
Well, I've been reading this incredible biography that I have of all of the things that you've been involved with in the Jewish community here in Arizona. So finding a place to start is very hard because it sounds like you've been incredibly involved in a lot of activity. But I would love to hear about why your family came here, when they came, and what the trip was like here and the change when you arrived.
Well, when we came here, it was because of my father. At those days, they said, if you had hay fever, this was the place to come, and this is where we came, to Arizona. Not knowing anything about Arizona, not knowing what we were in for, but it was a wonderful place. We got on a train, Golden State Limited it was called, and came across the desert and came to this godforsaken place, which we really didn't understand. I was from Cleveland, Ohio, which was a much larger city, and we came here, and it was a very simple time. It was easy, you didn't lock your doors, it was a very easy time to live in Arizona. And we had our first home, and it was purchased at 2126 East Harvard. I remember that so well because we lived a lot of years there. And I went to grade school at Creighton School, and then I went to North High. And in North High I went 4 years and had a wonderful time. And as a junior, I got involved with a sorority there. And when I became a senior, I was president of this sorority. Then went on to ASU. I did not complete ASU. I went on and then I married my husband, Stanford. And we had have three lovely children and 5 grandchildren. And my children are Cindy and Wendy and Mark. 2 out of 3 live here in Phoenix. I'm very fortunate to have 4 grandchildren living here in Phoenix. And I became involved in Hadassah. And then I was involved with Ilana Hadassah.
Now, what is the distinction between the two?
Between
Hadassah and Ilana?
Well, it was a group. Each one had a name. If you were in the older group, it had another name and another name. Each group, this was the young married couples, and it was newly formed. And I became involved with that and then became president. My biggest, I guess, achievement was being involved with Kivel. And that happened because of my oldest daughter, Wendy, was a candy striper. And I would drop her off, and I would pick her up, and she must have been about 15. And I didn't want to go inside because I didn't really like the feeling of a nursing home. That it didn't give me a good feel.
What motivated you that day that you suddenly felt this connection to get involved with Kivel?
Well, my daughter did. She, as I say, became the biggest. She made me feel very guilty because I didn't want to be involved with the older people and, sick. And I was always wanting to be with people that were alive and young and involved, in the community in other ways. So by doing that, I came in as a scrapbook chairman. I think they asked me on the board. And from then on, it was all history.
And where was Kivel at this time located?
Same place.
Same place as it is now.
Yeah,
okay.
Same place. It was just smaller.
Okay.
It was smaller. It was just one building, and then it was 2 buildings, and then it was the manor, and then it was the nursing home, So it just progressed. And we had a boutique. The auxiliary started a boutique. They went into the thrift shop business so we could raise more money on a regular basis. So it was a real fun time, and I had a group of very supportive people behind me that whatever I wanted to do with their help, we achieved it.
And were the boutique and thrift shop at Kivel, or?
The boutique was at Kivel, in Kivel Manor. It was an up-to-date, first-class beautiful, beautiful things. It was run by Ina Levine and Hinda Newman.
Okay.
And we were great supporters. Everybody supported it very well. You bought your latest gifts there. It was a wonderful gift shop. And then, of course, we had a thrift shop and a very small location that we rented, and we rented about 3 different places before we bought our own building on Indian School Road and 6th Avenue.
Oh, of course. Okay.
So we bought our own building, we remodeled it, and we had an ongoing thrift shop, which brought money in all the time for Kibble. All the money raised, no one was paid, and all the money went right back to Kibble. So,
and it was staffed completely voluntarily?
Of volunteers.
Now, the other thing that I wanted to ask you about, which I found in here, was a new young women's group called New Directions. Tell me about what that was.
Well, as the time was coming to an end where a lot of my friends and myself had had about 24 years of working with Kibble, that we thought that was time that we left it up to the younger women, the younger couples, and so we got a group together at a friend's house, Vern Rosenfield, and we called it New Directions. And we invited all our daughters, our daughter-in-laws, and our friends, and everybody that we could. We had about 30 people there, and we had them form this new group so that Kibble Auxiliary wouldn't die. And that's what we were afraid of, that it would, no longer be a part of the working community of Kibble. So some of the people that came from that group are still involved with the auxiliary.
Now, if you had like one life experience in your time in Arizona, or one story of your time in Arizona that really summed up sort of why you feel connected to the community or why you've been so involved, can you think of one time in your life that's really motivated you to do a lot of what you do?
I can't really say one thing except that this is a wonderful place to live, to raise your children and your grandchildren. And I just feel the community spirit is there, and the right group of people around you is very important, and who you associate with, and because they pick up the feeling from you. And I think everybody wants to do something wonderful for other people. And that was always my feeling, and that it's you get back what you give, to the community. And it's a very special place, and we're all grateful to be here.